Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave with my friend Darren Moser. How are you, sir?
Good to see you, Adam.
Really good to see you. We've been talking about some of your Star Wars bots, and now we're going to talk about your BD1s.
Yes.
Dude, these guys, so I've met this guy before.
You have met BD1. I apparently have an affinity for CG video game characters that don't exist in real life and practical applications, but it is a lot of fun. So this is, again, yeah, you met him before. We've done a couple of updates, and he also, unfortunately, had a little bit of a melty in the hot car. PLA did not enjoy it. I only print in ABS now. You'll never guess why.
Oh, yeah, right. I half expect all of my PLA prints to just melt in 20 years, right? Just to turn to revert back to their original components.
It was a poor choice on my part. He was in his toolbox in my car on like a 100-degree day, and it was bad.
I did the same thing with the bubble helmet for my Apollo spacesuit. Yeah, no, that was really hard to get those wrinkles out. Okay, so what upgrades have you made since I met him?
So again, we're going with making things stronger, more maneuverable. So back when I first printed him, I was a novice of the raceway, the 3D printed bearing. So I couldn't get it to work. So my solution was jam a 3-inch Lazy Susan bearing in. I love Lazy Susan bearings, but it's a lot of weight. You're mounting something in the slightly different way.
Right.
So we were able to print a whole new raceway. It goes and makes his head way more maneuverable.
So this guy is everything about him is fully puppeted.
He's fully puppeted, all linkages, no servos.
Okay.
And then going back through that, we've updated, again, out of ABS, I call this the puppet paddle. So the puppet connection.
Okay, gotcha.
Also similar to K2, we have the iteration where this part could be prototyped and then bolted in and removed as it got improved.
So with these constructions, when you're working on something, you seem to know when you've hit a part that's like, we can lock this.
Right.
And then you modularize on top of that. Is that true?
Yeah, my process, definitely with like sketches, is I do a lot of pre-thought, a lot of thinking through the problem, what things might collide or not work. And so when you finally get to execution and you pull the trigger, usually it works. And then you can iterate off of that.
I find that I can prognosticate and make sketches for months. And when I get into the bench, I'm wrong about at least 40%. But it still gets me most of the way there.
A little higher, but it all depends on if you have enough time and you're not working on a deadline, you can think forever.
Well, that's the most fun part for me, is layering the object into my head, right? And then when the parts come out, I know I don't even have to look at a guide anymore, right?
So the other update we did is this was the controller grip, but it had some flaws. It was printed like in 2 halves. Okay. That was the way I could get the finger rings inside. Ignore the melting damage from the heat. But what I ended up going with is I took a part that I'd already built, so K2's finger rings and grips.
Right.
I took that same model and then modified it
Ported
for
it
this.
over to this.
So we have the same mechanism he had.
Actually, just because we're about to watch that happen, how does he puppet? Where does this attach to?
Yeah, so first we black out my hand, because you don't want to see my fingers.
Here in San Francisco, whenever I need gloves like this, I just go to the drag queen store, and then they want to know whether I want shiny or matte.
I have a second one somewhere. And then we put on this is a saxophone harness.
Saxophone harness.
So we have that for strain relief and weight, and I'll eventually have to take that out. So this is a telescoping, like long ruler, like a giant T-square you would do.
Okay.
So it has adjustability. But the important part that I found out is this brace. You have to have something you're butting your hand against, or you have no traction.
Okay. For forward and back.
For just any sort of motion, you have to have it connected. So we slide our arm in, and then we just tight enough to move, but not too tight to cut off the circulation. That's a fine line.
I learned that one the hard way, I'm guessing.
And so we have our bipod that keeps him, and that just folds up.
Oh, look how easy it is. Oh, wow.
So then we clip in our saxophone strap, and that's just, again, for strain and weight. And if you can help me with this part.
Yeah.
So we're going to slide in there, and there's, as before, we have magnets in the glove, so that holds the feet.
Oh, now I understand everything.
So
that's great.
So we're using our system of the rails being the tubing, and then we have you can squeeze and adjust.
Oh, nice.
So we have ears, we have the kind of rotating little
hollow
sticky,
eye,
and then the hollow eye, and then our thumb just does all the sound effects.
Dude.
But the main emotion is the ears. That is the number one, kind of like K2 is his head, like looking at you. The ears are where the emotion comes from.
So when I'm playing around with a character like that, I end up finding out what people want out of the character, right? You end up coming up with moves. What are some of your moves with him?
Well, he loves head scratches.
Yeah, it does.
So the little waddle with the head scratch, and then I played that. That's like my head scratch sound. That's the sound he makes. This is his look at me. So if I'm walking around and all of a sudden you hear something and then you look and it's like, oh, look, there's a BD1. I mean, kids all play the video games. They know BD1.
When I was like 23, my best friend and I, if we were in the same location, we couldn't find each other. One of us would go and the other would go.
The echolocation. And again, this was a happy accident when I first built him. When I bought the bearings that are in his ankle and knee. It came in a pack of 5, so and I only needed 4. So the 5th one's actually this pivot in the back.
Oh, it's the head.
It's the head, and it's an inverse because my wrist is right here. I can't move it only so much.
Right.
So right is left and left is right, and I get way more motion than I would if the rotation was just in the head.
I love this. You know, there's so many. Like puppeteering is such an ancient art, and we've been doing it for so many millennia. It's wonderful to see how much puppeteering is coming back into cosplay specifically.
Oh, definitely. Well, and this one, I mean, I wanted all linkages, no servos. I wanted to make him, move his ears slowly if he's thinking. I wanted to control where he looks. And I could make it like a trigger and then it runs a servo. But I was like, well, it's 6 inches away. I can run a linkage that far.
I'm curious, did you post build logs to the Replica Prop forum?
I did a little bit on this guy, but I also have a lot on my website. And and a lot of people have been, there's actually someone in New York who has made one like this. I gave him some of the internal parts to engineer his own. A lot of people do the backpack method where he's kind of on your shoulder.
Right.
But I like the intimacy of like, he's right here between you and me. And then if you're looking straight on, all of the black kind of disappears. And then he's also really cute. So everyone loves that.
Oh man, he's really, really great.
But an interesting thing I didn't know, I had a friend try him on. My friend Sai, who's also a droid builder, and she really wanted to try him. And we found, fortunately, this back elbow part is adjustable, but if it wasn't, she couldn't wear him, because it's made for my length of arm.
So specific.
And I hadn't even thought of that, of like someone else might not be able to, but because we could have shortened it slightly, she was able. But I hadn't even thought of, if someone has mobility issues or it's harder for them to turn their wrists, like you might run into something where you want to be more remote controlled versus physical controls.
Because you post pictures and descriptions of how you solved your problems, I'd love you to talk a little bit about how you wheel photography into your process. I get a lot of questions from fans who say it's hard for me to remember while I'm going. So talk about photography and your building.
Well, and you're right, it absolutely is photography. I'm not very good about shooting videos unless I'm trying to get an exact little motion and show a part. But I love documenting with just take a picture, and just so I'll look through my camera roll and it's like, oh, look, I was working on BD that day because there's a dozen pictures. But another thing that just helped was I bought a kind of posable arm for my tripod that I can just put my phone in, and then you can just kind of angle it in real fast, snap a shot, or run some time lapse.
Channel.
Exactly. Mine's not a gooseneck, so it doesn't creak as much. But
I know the creaking drives everyone crazy.
But it just, again, removing the friction of not having it handy. That's the biggest deal.
Does photography help you while you're in a build to you go home at the end of the night and look at what you built that day?
A little bit, actually. When I was packing up K2 this morning, I was looking at the photos that I had posted. I had posted a video of his hip, and I looked at it and I'm like, something's wrong. Oh, I put all the pistons in backwards. The silver side is on the inside and it should be on the outside. So I just got out my toolkit and just popped them off and swapped them out. But I wouldn't have even noticed that if I wasn't looking at all the documentation.
There's this thing that happens among us prop nuts who put one of these into our heads, is that we end up with eyes for the object, right? Like our friends who
Like
know
tunnel vision,
stormtroopers
yeah.
can look at my 9 stormtrooper helmets and tell me who built every single one and what movie it's for. And now you have BD1 eyes. You can look at anybody's model and know how accurate, how close to screen, what they were using as reference, etc.
Well, and again, this being a CG character or a video game character, we're pretty sure about the scale. I'm pretty sure in the game, he's probably a different size when he's on your shoulder versus when he's on the ground.
Right.
He probably uses a different model.
Little cheats.
Little cheats.
Yeah.
I think there was a video where he's climbing up Cal and he turns his wrist to grab his arm, and this port totally twists, and I'm like, not at a rotation point, just the whole.
Oh wow!
And I was like, that's a video game cheat right there. I can't do that.
Okay, so this is one. This is your first one.
Yes.
Let's
talk
about
his
this
brother.
blue one in the corner.
Yeah, let's talk about his brother.
So BD, this is your 2.0 of
Right.
BD1.
Well, more like on a tangent because very different on the inside, on the outside. So this is BD6.
Ah.
So I call him that because mouse droids are MSE 6s. So he's riding on a mouse. There's always a reason for the numbering.
Fair.
And so he's a different color because BD1 is red, BD6 is blue. And this was my solution. I got to drive some other droids, some of my friends' droids, and I got the itch. I got the bug. I'm like,
you wanted someone to drive around.
I wanted to be able to sit on a chair and
not have the weight of the thing hanging off your body.
It's a workout. It's a lot of work. So I love BD1. And I was like, how do I bring this walking droid to life? Well, walking droids are hard. Rolling droids are less hard. So let's put them on top of a rolling droid.
And this is Star Wars. This is a classic.
This is a standard mouse droid. This is a vacuum shell. This is how they would have made it, just put on top of a RC car. There was a guy doing a run during COVID, and we bought a whole bunch for SoCal and had them shipped down.
And these are 3D prints of chipboards?
Yeah,
or castings?
This is all 3D printed.
Amazing. Do we know what the original circuit board was?
Yeah, on the Mouse Droid Builder forums, they have every single chip
which
and
thing
all of
it
that.
came out of and everything.
But that's just a single print.
Amazing.
To
that's
do
a
the
great
solution.
looking print, honestly.
That was the first challenge. Is most mouse droids, you just take the top off when you need to change the batteries.
You can't do that.
I can't do that. He's very integrated, so I had to design these panels that come off on the side.
Are they interchangeable?
No.
Oh, cool.
I mean, I guess you could, but I have arrows and.
Gotcha. All right, left, right. I see that. Oh yeah, dude.
So on his inside, you'll see there's a 2020 aluminum extrusion chassis inside. So that's going down to the wheels. It goes up and creates like an eye kind of bar at the top, and that's what he's attached to. So he's not just sitting on the plastic.
Gotcha, of course. Right.
There's mechanisms. They do all of that. Again, running off of the Ryobi battery, a whole bunch of Gobilda modules.
Amazing.
So dropping down voltage.
How do you, just because I keep on being distracted by it, how did you do this? Did
you
custom make this or does someone make this?
Someone makes this.
Okay.
So my
4 BD1
4
builders.
BD1s for this model.
So it's really specifically made for your BD1.
It fits on him. He did the version 1 for that, which is like the low density. This is the high density. And I said, I'm not going to solder all those LEDs. Can you please solder them for me? But it just runs off of a nano and does its own sequencing.
Because it adds so much value.
It does. That you asked with K2, like, what is that one wow that people see? It's the back of the display. When people see that, they light up and they're like, oh, but look at that. That's amazing. We also have some lights here.
Yep.
So this is also from a guy who makes, these are Knight Rider, like the little LED that goes back and forth, but just in blue and out of sequence. So it gives
I
a little.
Used those out of sequence as well.
So it just gives a little like I'm thinking, I'm processing.
Yeah. Okay, we've seen the structure. I want to see him move. Can we see him perform?
We can. So the main difference on him is all of his insides are all servos. He has like 11 servos inside.
11.
No linkages. There's also ones in the base.
I see you're using a Frisky radio.
Use a Frisky radio.
I know they say Free Sky, but I can't stop saying Frisky.
We use, so I installed these third axis gimbals, which was harrowing as my brand new multi-$100 transmitter.
Yes.
I had to go deep
It's
into
non-trivial to take these apart.
Well, and I made it harder because normally people sacrifice the side pots.
Right.
I sacrificed the front pot. So I had to go all the way in because I still wanted the side.
Right.
And we have labels on all of these. So I did that. Not that I would forget, but just if I'm handing it off to someone.
So are you able to run animation sequences through this?
Some sequences, yeah. This uses the Kyber system. So it's triggering off of multiple Arduinos that are inside the head. So we have right joystick does the head.
Oh, it's very responsive.
Yeah, so think of it as the joystick is looking down on the top of his head. So look down, look up. Twist does this kind of rocking motion. We can look left, right, and we have a trigger for the ears. So again, the personality. Nice. And then the center button does beady sounds. So it just runs through a sequence of different sounds. And then the right one does the Mouse Droid. We'll drive him on the ground a little later, but we use McKinnon wheels. So he can move forward, backwards, left, right, crab, spin. A little more maneuverable than your standard Mouse Droid. But the left joystick will do mouse sounds, so he can chirp. So I did all that design. Oh, he's standing there. It's all put together. But I want to make him move a little more.
Yeah, not just move his head around.
So I want to make him stand. So I developed a linkage system inside the leg. So parallel bars and things like that. Right. So he can actually stand up.
And take a look at stuff.
So that comes from this giant servo here. So it, So it pushes this mechanical arm part.
Wow.
And so all these are doing are keeping the body level.
So it's a single servo is doing that entire
one
stand.
On each leg.
And one on each leg.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's one mode of activation. It's going through the same
It's up and down. And then I was like, well, I want to make him move even more, which means you put all of that on a pin and he can move side to side.
What? No.
So there's a single servo that's running a track and pushing it back and forth.
In your own life, is your ambition both your best and worst quality?
Well, again, you start with it, and you're like, oh, it's easy, and then again, you have to take that whole assembly and now mount it on a pivot point.
Having done this, I literally we had to rebuild Grogu's neck mech 5 separate times. There's 5 totally different executions.
Because you're like, oh, what if he did this?
Yeah, exactly.
What if we did it that way?
Okay, let's see his whole suite of movements here. Oh, amazing. That side-to-side shimmy is so sweet.
And what's also nice is you get a lot of secondary animation.
Yeah,
I'm not animating the legs. They're just from the gravity of the motion. Or when the mouse is moving, you get other sway. So you get a lot of free animation there. And then we have, again, magnets and parts to...
you made yourself painting a lot easier.
To hold. So you can actually see the linkages in there.
Oh, that's great.
So you can see how they hold it together. That's probably a part I eventually want to redo with Sen Cut Sen custom. So, tapped and just more durable. It's going to stay together.
Absolutely. So I want to speak, because you're deeply enmeshed in this community. I want to speak to some folks out there who are thinking, I might want to build a bot, but I don't want to show up in this community and be a dumbass. And the answer is, the community just wants more people to make more bots for themselves and to have fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, the fact I was a little tentative when I showed up because I was building K2, who's not an astromech.
Right.
You might have not noticed. He's a little taller and a little blacker.
Yeah.
So, but it was not a problem at all. They were like, oh, cool. You're building a cool Star Wars droid. Awesome. They could, and this was when he was a walking PVC skeleton. That was it. And they're like, okay, he can see the vision, so we're just going to let him run.
Amazing.
But it's really been a great community. I've been blessed for that. And even if there's not a local community, there's online. There's lots of ways to connect. So that makes it great.
The enthusiasm runs so deep. I just love always finding people willing to not just help me, but really help me figure out and solve the problems that are in front of me for this piece. Darren, it's so inspiring. What is the next droid? What is the next droid you're obsessed with and thinking about executing?
There's always a list. There's a few that are puttering around. One is there was a concept art drawn. I think Lucasfilm did a art contest where you could draw hey, imagine a droid.
I remember this.
And it was DD3 and everybody was throwing things out. It was a sphere with 4 little toes around it and kind of could walk and crab. That's a thought. Probably the next thing I'll make though is I want to make a bit from Tron. And so it'll
Oh.
float over my head and it will reconfigure and it will say yes and no. And, you know, for
Again.
something a little different.
Darren, I can't thank you enough for bringing your beautiful toys to show me. And please, next time you finish something, bring it by and let's talk about it again.
I will for sure.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
You're still here? Great. I want to tell you about some of the stuff we've got for sale at adamsavage.com, including a new gear bag. I know it looks like 2 gear bags, but these are 2 versions of the same bag. And this is a new line we're calling the Everyday Gear Bag, or EDGB. This is inspired by a gear bag I made for a piece of kit last year. I found this beautiful red zipper I really liked. And then I took some sailcloth and I made a bag of this form factor. And I just sort of fell in love with this kind of lunchboxy kind of thing. So we made a bunch of them. Most of them are in red. A few precious ones are in orange. And if we sell out, we will make some more. Go to adamsavage.com and get yours today.